President Trump delivering a new warning for Iran, making it clear he's in no hurry to make a deal until they agree to give up their nuclear ambitions. Last hour, he posted on Truth Social that no conversations are going on or are even scheduled. Retired U.S. Navy Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery is a senior fellow at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies to help us puzzle through this. Here's what President Trump said yesterday about Oman.
You said you would bomb the S out of Oman if they got in the way of reopening the Strait of Hormuz. Would you say you're out of patience with Oman as strategic partners?
No, I don't think they behave very well, but we'd handle them very easily, just like we do other things.
Can you give us the context about Oman's position here?
So Oman is on the southern end of the Strait of Hormuz and Iran on the northern edge. And so geographically, they both are very involved in it. Now, as you know, the Strait of Hormuz is an international transit way. The two countries can speak to each other. They should not make some kind of deal where they control the Strait of Hormuz or they toll it. I'm not sure Oman is attempting to do that. Oman is a long-term ally or partner of the United States. I think that they've been helpful for us in creating a very southern transit scheme through their waters over the last 4 months. But the president, I think his warning was overdone, but the president was attempting to remind them that they should adhere to international law when having any discussions with Iran.
What do you make of some say that Oman and Iran are thinking about doing this tolling system in the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, certainly Oman didn't have that intent originally, right? Oman's they're a victim of Iran in the sense that Iran has actually bombed them several times over the last 6 months. I think Oman is looking, and Qatar, who's the intermediary, are looking for a way through this so they can get flow going back through. But Oman had better be careful here. I mean, they are a partner of the United States, and President Trump clearly does not want a solution that includes tolling or fees of any kind. And I think in the end, Oman will bend back towards the U.S. point of view on this. But the lack of any U.S. IRGC or U.S. Iranian discussions are probably forcing this issue forward.
Okay. Let's also ask you about this because Jared Kushner has been there. Well, he's been everywhere helping the president. In particular, he was talking about his conversation with Hamas officials yesterday. He spoke to our own Trey Yingst. Here's part of that interview.
You met with Hamas officials yesterday. Do you think they're genuine about peace?
I mean, they said all the right things, but obviously it's very, very hard to trust, a terrorist organization that committed these terrible atrocities. But we had a very cordial meeting, and they said all the right things. And so we're going to give them a chance to perform, but it's going to have to be based on actions and steps.
I think he sounds, skeptical. Of course, Hamas would say all of the right things. The question is, what will they do, and how would we know? How will you assess that?
Well, look, I'm glad he took that that was a very skeptical answer, and he's right. I mean, this is a terrorist organization that's been a terrorist organization for decades. It's vowed the end, from the river to the sea, the ending of the Israeli state and the genocide of the Israeli people. So there's the old Reagan axiom, trust but verify, is trust but verify, verify, verify with these guys, because I don't trust them. I don't think you can get a true agreement out of Hamas, and I think Jared Kushner was kind of reflecting that in his answer.
Indeed. All right, Mark Montgomery, we appreciate you coming on the show, and say hello to your colleagues over there at FDD.